welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, if you're a creator, maybe running a business, or honestly, just anyone trying to get noticed online these days, you know that feeling, that absolute terror of the algorithm. It feels like a black box, right? You put in so much work, you follow all the advice you can find, and the results, they're just all over the place, unpredictable. Sometimes it feels like they're even going down, not up. And you end up feeling, well, less like you're steering the ship and more like you're just begging for views.
Yeah, absolutely. We hear that constantly. That feeling of exhaustion, you're chasing trends, the algorithm changes overnight with zero warning, and good content, stuff you poured hours into, just vanishes. It feels broken.
But today, we've got something interesting. We have sources, research from Banksina AI Studio, and they're not just saying the game is broken, they're saying it's like officially over, done.
Yeah.
They argue that the old playbook, YouTube SEO, chasing trends, it's not just not working, it's actually what's burning creators out. So today we are diving deep into their proposed alternative, a completely different way of thinking they call the Infinite Trojan Protocol.
Yeah, and what's really grabbing me here is how bold it is. This isn't, another 5 tips for better thumbnails kind of thing. They're pulling in ideas from systems engineering, even control theory, to think about content. It's pretty wild. So our plan today really is twofold. First, we need to unpack why the old model failed so badly. They call it model mismatch, and we need to get into that. And second, we dig into the how. How does this Infinite Trojan Protocol actually work? How does it build what they call compounding authority?
Yeah.
And the goal for you listening in is hopefully you walk away understanding how to maybe stop feeling dictated to by all that chaos out there, and instead start thinking like an architect. Building your own digital world, something so interesting the algorithm basically has to pay attention.
Architect, not supplicant. I like that. Okay, let's get into it. And yeah, you're right, we have to start with the diagnosis. Why did the old ways fail? Right, so the sources kick off by saying something that I think every creator who's felt that burnout will just nod along to. The burnout, the crazy effort for random results. It's not because your content isn't good enough. It's because the strategy is wrong. Fundamentally flawed. For years, we were told, follow these static rules, chase these keywords, fight it out in these crowded spaces, these bloody red oceans, as they put it. Stuff like keyword stuffing, posting exactly 3 times a week at 2 p.m. That whole checklist approach.
The checklist.
And the sources are blunt. Those methods. They're not just useless now, they actively hurt you. But it's deeper than just being outdated, isn't it? There's this control theory angle.
Exactly. That's the core insight here. Control theory, in simple terms, says you can't control a system if your mental model of it is fundamentally wrong. Doesn't matter how hard you try. And the old YouTube advice created a massive model mismatch. It also ignored what they call high uncertainty. Let's tackle the mismatch first.
Okay, model mismatch.
The old advice keyword in the title matched the description, post at the right time. It treated YouTube like a really simple machine, like a steam engine. You pull lever A, push button B, and you expect result C, guaranteed. It was based on this idea of YouTube as basically a static search engine, ranking stuff based on simple text matching.
Like following a simple instruction manual.
Yeah.
If I do this, I get that.
Precisely. You thought you had the manual for a tractor. But the machine, the actual system, it changed under our feet. The sources paint a picture of the 2025 YouTube algorithm not as a simple machine, but as this incredibly complex, dynamic, a neural network. Yeah. It's AI-driven. It's learning constantly from billions of interactions, trying to figure out how to keep people watching not just this video, but the next video and the one after that. Maximizing long-term satisfaction, platform time.
Wait, okay, so a neural network. How does that change what it actually values compared to the old keyword system? Why does it care about different things?
Because it's looking for patterns, not just keywords. It's optimizing for sophisticated user behavior over the long haul. And the sources identify 3 big priorities for this new system. Priorities the old model just completely ignored. Okay, priority 1, topical authority. The system isn't just asking, is this video relevant? It's asking, does this entire channel really know its stuff on this topic? Deeply, consistently. So if you're jumping from cat videos one week to quantum physics the next.
Yeah, the AI gets confused. It can't label you an authority on anything.
Exactly. Authority comes from that interconnected depth on a subject. Okay, priority 2, deep audience satisfaction. This isn't just views, it's watch time, sure, but also engagement, comments, shares. And maybe the biggest thing, can the system confidently recommend another one of your videos right after this one finishes? Does your content create its own momentum?
keeping people within your channel's ecosystem.
Precisely. And that leads to priority 3, which is absolutely central to this whole Trojan Protocol idea, the interconnectedness of a channel's content. The algorithm actively rewards channels that build a library, a universe, that makes sense together, where one video logically leads to another because that structure keeps people watching longer, reduces drop-off.
Okay, so if I'm still using the old steam engine manual, stuffing keywords, focusing only on title match and applying it to this complex AI that wants interconnected authority, that's the model mismatch in action. My effort isn't just wasted, it's kind of counterproductive.
Totally counterproductive. You're optimizing for things the algorithm barely registers anymore. It doesn't just see your perfect title, it sees maybe a channel with no clear topic, low average watch time, and videos that don't link together well. The old map leads you straight into a dead end.
And then there's the other factor you mentioned, high uncertainty.
Right. On top of using the wrong map, you're trying to navigate a hurricane. Billions of videos uploaded, trends that explode and die in days, an AI that's constantly learning and tweaking itself without publishing notes. It's inherently chaotic. High uncertainty.
So combining model mismatch with high uncertainty. That's why creators feel powerless. Following static advice like post 3 times a week in that chaos, the analogy in the sources is brilliant. It's like trying to steer a ship in a hurricane with the sail locked in one position. You have zero actual control. You're just hoping the storm blows you somewhere good.
And that's the burnout. The effort feels pointless, the results are random, it's exhausting. The Infinite Trojan Protocol, then, is designed from the ground up to handle both problems. To fix the model mismatch by understanding the new priorities, and to thrive in high uncertainty by basically creating its own stability, its own gravity. It stops chasing the algorithm and aims to make the algorithm chase it.
Okay, that's a fundamental shift in thinking.
Okay.
So if the old game of chasing is dead, let's get into the architecture of the new game. What's the core idea behind this Infinite Trojan Protocol?
At its heart, it's really a philosophy of, well, strategic independence. The sources are basically saying, forget trying to perfectly predict and chase the algorithm. Instead, build your own content universe. Make it so deep, so interesting, so well connected internally that the algorithm, by its very nature of seeking audience satisfaction and interconnectedness, is basically forced to explore it and serve it up. They call this whole approach universe SEO. And the Infinite Trojan Protocol. That's the engine, the adaptive system you use to build and expand that universe, specifically designed to work within that high uncertainty we talked about.
Universe SEO.
Yeah.
I like that. It shifts the focus from single hits to the whole library's value. But
yeah,
let me play devil's advocate here. This sounds like a lot of upfront work building a whole universe. Isn't there a risk you invest all this time in world building and see like zero return initially? Is that actually less risky than just jumping on a quick trend?
That's a fair question. And yes, the initial effort might feel higher, but the sources argue the long-term risk is way, way lower. Chasing trends is low effort, maybe, but super high risk, because any success you have is fleeting. It doesn't build on itself. This new strategy, starting with step 1, character SEO, it's about building assets, things you own, things that last.
Okay, step 1, character SEO, building foundational assets called pillars. And crucially, doing it in a blue ocean.
Okay.
Talk about that.
Right. A blue ocean is basically finding or creating a niche where there's little to no competition. You're not fighting in those bloody red oceans for existing keywords. The key here with these pillars is that they have to be unique intellectual property, IP. The sources give specific examples, characters they created called Wizard Ali and Victor Crane.
Right, actual named entities.
Exactly. And character SEO is about making that IP, that character or unique series name, so distinct that the name itself becomes a keyword you completely own. It's your defense against model mismatch because you define the model for that term.
Okay, let's make that concrete. Say I'm a history creator, trying to rank for a World War II documentary, that's a red ocean, right? Insane competition.
Absolutely. You're up against massive players, your effort gets diluted instantly, high uncertainty kills you.
But if I create a pillar, maybe a character named, I don't know, Professor Time Warp, who specializes in the unseen economic impacts of alternate history WW2 scenarios.
Perfect example. It sounds niche, maybe, but that niche is yours. When Professor Time Warp launches, yeah, the first videos might get fewer views than a generic WW2 doc, but every view is super targeted, and when someone searches Professor Time Warp, boom, you own that search result page. You control that asset completely.
So the immediate goal isn't broad reach, it's total dominance over a tiny piece of digital real estate. And the uncertainty for that specific search term just plummets.
Drastically reduce, because you're the one defining what Professor Time Warp means. This is what the sources call the Declaration of Independence. You're building something defensible, something based on unique owned IP, creating your own gravity. And the algorithm, it loves this. It sees clear topical authority building up around Professor Time Warp. It knows exactly what that is.
This really reframes the whole creative process. Okay, so the foundation is built, the pillars, Wizard Ali, Victor Crane, Professor Time Warp, they're stable. They're building authority in their blue oceans. But how do you use that niche authority to actually grow? To tackle the big competitive red oceans without just getting swallowed? That seems like the big leap. And that's where the Trojan part comes in.
Exactly. The pillars give you the stable base, the authority. The Infinite Trojan Protocol is the engine you use to expand from that base. It's the mechanism for calculated conquest.
All right, let's walk through it. Step 2, the Trojan Horse launch. We've got our stable pillar. Let's use their example, Victor Crane. He's established, has authority. The idea is to use Victor Crane's credibility to launch something new, a Trojan horse. And in their example, this new IP is called the Beast. But critically, the Beast isn't pillar content. It's specifically designed to go after a huge competitive market, a red ocean keyword, like maybe just the word beast.
Yes, and this is where the strategy gets clever. If you just launched a generic video titled The Beast, you'd get crushed. Zero authority, lost in the noise. But launching it as, say, The Beast, a Victor Crane investigation into apex predators, now you're doing something different. You're essentially borrowing the authority, the audience trust, built up by the Victor Crane pillar. You're giving that new competitive video an initial boost, an unfair advantage in the red ocean.
Now the pillar acts like a launch pad.
A launch pad and a credibility booster. And the content style has to match the mission. Victor Crane's stuff is probably deep, long-form, evergreen analysis. That's the pillar. The Beast content, the Trojan Horse, needs to be being punchier, faster paced, optimized hard for click-through rate and broader appeal in that mainstream market.
Okay, so pillar content is the thoughtful main course. Trojan content is the flashy appetizer designed to grab everyone's attention. Makes sense. But if the Beast succeeds and attracts a big mainstream audience, what stops them from just watching that one video and bouncing? How does this actually build compounding authority back to Victor Crane? How does the loop close?
Yes. That's step 3, the infinite loop. This is the absolute linchpin of the whole thing. It's the positive feedback mechanism that ensures the expansion doesn't just dissipate, but actually strengthens the core. For this protocol to be truly infinite, every single Trojan Horse mission, like the Beast, has to achieve 2 distinct functions, non-negotiable.
Okay, 2 functions.
Function 1 is the obvious one, to capture that new territory. The Beast video has to actually succeed in the red ocean, reach that big new audience. That's the conquest part.
Right. Get the views, get the subs from the mainstream.
But function 2 is the crucial engineering piece. It has to funnel a significant portion of that new audience and authority back to the foundational pillar, back to Victor Crane.
Okay, how? Mechanically, what does that look like? Is it just asking people to subscribe to Victor Crane?
It has to be way more integrated than that. Just asking isn't enough. The funneling mechanism needs to be baked into the Trojan Horse content itself. You have to leverage the algorithm's love for interconnectedness. So, for example, the Beast video might deliberately leave a narrative thread hanging, or reference a core concept that's only fully explained back in the main Victor Crane series. The host of the Beast might literally say, now, if you want to understand the deep history of why this beast evolved this way, you absolutely need to check out Victor Crane's original 3-part series on ecological pressures.
Creating an intentional knowledge gap, making the pillar content required reading, essentially.
Exactly. You create a dependency. And you make it easy. This means using really clear, visually distinct end screens, maybe even pointed mid-roll callouts, linking directly to a specific Victor Crane playlist. Not just the channel page, but the relevant pillar content.
Got it. So you're actively curating the journey for that new audience member.
You are. And you measure it. The key metric becomes something like the funnel rate back to the pillar. If the Beast gets 100,000 new viewers, how many of those click through and start watching the core Victor Crane playlist? 10%, 20%. That tells you if the loop is working.
And if, say, 20,000 of those new viewers do funnel back and become engaged Victor Crane viewers,
then the pillar, Victor Crane, just got a massive injection of authority and new engaged audience members. its foundation becomes exponentially stronger. Which means the next Trojan Horse launch, maybe a new IP called the Shadow, targeting the keyword shadow, launches from an even higher platform. More authority, better recognition from the algorithm.
It snowballs.
It creates this engine. Theoretically, it can keep expanding and replicating. The effort compounds cycle after cycle. Contrast that with the old game, relentless effort, chasing external trends, and every win was isolated. It didn't build anything lasting. This new game uses internal assets, the pillars, to conquer external territory, and every conquest feeds back to strengthen the core. You stop chasing temporary spikes and start building durable, compounding authority.
That difference chasing versus generating feels huge. And it directly tackles that model mismatch because you're giving the algorithm exactly what it wants. Deep, interconnected content that proves topical authority and keeps people watching within your universe.
Precisely.
Okay, but we still live in that chaotic world. High uncertainty. What stops the algorithm from shifting again in 3 months and suddenly deciding he doesn't care about Victor Crane anymore, making the pillar obsolete? How does this whole beautiful structure stay adaptive?
Good question. Because a static system, even a well-designed one, would eventually fail. This brings us to the final piece, the guidance system. Right, so the protocol isn't just build pillars, launch Trojans, loop back. It needs a way to navigate that ongoing chaos, that high uncertainty. The sources describe this as using its own form of model predictive control, or MPC, another concept borrowed from control theory.
Okay, MPC, what does that mean in practice for a creator?
It means you don't rely on a fixed plan or assume the rules will stay the same. Instead, you are constantly predicting how the system, the algorithm, might react, measuring how it actually reacts to your content, the inputs, and then adjusting your strategy based on that real-time feedback. You stop guessing based on outdated advice and start adapting based on what the data is telling you right now.
So this transforms something like YouTube analytics.
Yeah.
It's not just looking back at how did last month go. It's becoming a tool for what adjustments do I need to make this week based on the latest results.
Exactly. You shift from planning based on assumptions to planning based on observed outcomes. And the methodology they detail for this is the classic PDCA cycle. Plan, do, check, act, applied rigorously.
Plan, do, check, act. Let's really break down how that works for, say, a Trojan launch. This seems crucial for making the system truly adaptive.
Okay, so you plan the mission. Let's stick with the beast, targeting the beast keyword, launching from the Victor Crane pillar. Then you do it. You create the content, you launch it, you implement the funneling mechanisms back to Victor Crane. Now comes the critical part. Check. This is intense data monitoring, and you're looking beyond just views and basic retention.
What specific metrics are key here for checking the health of the loop?
They highlight a few. First, that pillar conversion ratio we talked about. What percentage of the beast viewers actually click through and engage with the Victor Crane content? That tells you if the funnel is working. If the beast gets 1 million views but only 0.1% funnel back, the Trojan mission failed strategically, even if it got tons of views.
Right, it didn't strengthen the core. What else?
They also mention tracking the affinity score. This is a bit more subtle. It's about observing if YouTube itself starts recommending your Victor Crane pillar content to people after they watch the beast, even if they didn't click your funnel link. A rising affinity score means the algorithm sees the connection. It understands that viewers of the beast are likely interested in Victor Crane. It's validating your universe structure. If that score is low, maybe the connection wasn't made clear enough in the content. There's still a mismatch.
Wow, okay, that's getting really granular with the data.
Yeah.
So this check phase gives you specific actionable insights, which leads directly to the act phase. Let's play that out. Say the check phase shows the pillar conversion ratio is really low. The beast was popular, but nobody went back to Victor Crane. What action do you take?
The action needs to be targeted. You don't just scrap the whole idea. You diagnose why the funnel failed. Was the call to action in the beast too weak, buried at the end? Was the knowledge gap you created not compelling enough? So the act might be, on the next Trojan launch, test a stronger mid-roll call-out, redesign the end screen, or maybe even adjust the beast's script to create a more urgent need for the pillar content. You tweak the mechanics of the funnel.
Okay. Or what if the check phase shows that audience retention on the pillar content on Victor Crane suddenly dipped after the beast launch?
Good scenario. That suggests maybe the beast attracted an audience whose expectations didn't align with the deeper, slower pillar content. Or maybe the pillar content itself needs refreshing. The act then isn't necessarily changing the Trojan, but reevaluating the pillar. Is the tone right? Is the quality still there? Does it deliver on the promise made by the Trojan horse?
This continuous loop plan, do, check, act, It feels like the antidote to the static, outdated advice
Right.
that caused the model mismatch in the first place. It forces the creator to constantly be in dialogue with the algorithm's actual behavior, using data, not guesswork. It keeps the strategy alive and dynamic.
It's the core of maintaining control in that high uncertainty environment. It's what allows, say, a small studio or even a solo creator to confidently invest in their unique world building, their pillars, because they know this data-driven PDCA process is handling the adaptation, the navigation. The model mismatch gets resolved continuously because the creator's own model, the PDCA loop, is constantly self-correcting based on reality.
It really shifts the power dynamic. Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. Moving from why the old way failed so spectacularly to the detailed mechanics of this new adaptive protocol, it genuinely reframes how you should think about building a presence online. #tagged outro. All right, let's try and pull the key threads together here for you. We started with the problem. Creator burnout, unpredictable results,
Yeah.
the cause. Trying to use an old, simple map model mismatch to navigate a complex, chaotic territory, high uncertainty. The old SEO game is finished. The proposed solution from Bang Scene AI Studio is this Infinite Trojan Protocol. It's a whole new architecture. You start by building foundational owned IP, these defensible pillars like Wizard Ali or Victor Crane in a safe blue ocean niche where you dominate.
Creating your own gravity first.
Exactly. Then you use the authority of those pillars to launch targeted Trojan horses like the Beast, designed to conquer specific high-volume red ocean markets.
The expansion engine.
But the absolute key is the infinite loop. Designing those Trojans so they systematically funnel new viewers and authority back to strengthen the core pillar. Each mission makes the foundation stronger for the next one. Compounding authority.
The feedback loop is critical.
And the whole thing is kept adaptive and alive through constant data-driven adjustment, using that PDCA cycle plan, do, check, act.
The guidance system.
So what this really means for you, listening, is a fundamental shift in focus. Stop chasing scattered one-off viral hits. Start thinking about the depth, the structure, the interconnectedness of your entire content universe. Success isn't just viewership. It's about building an owned, defensible, expanding digital world.
Yeah, and the sources offer a final thought that really stuck with me. It's quite provocative. They basically say the world doesn't really need another channel just chasing the same trends everyone else is. What it needs, what audiences are hungry for, are new worlds, new universes to get lost in, new IP to connect with.
New worlds to explore.
So, if we accept their premise that long-term success now hinges on topical authority and the interconnectedness of your content, it brings up a really practical question for you. What's your potential pillar? What unique knowledge, what passion, what distinct perspective do you have, maybe sitting dormant right now? That could be the foundation. Your Victor Crane, your Wizard Ali, the start of your own defensible digital empire.
Something to really think about.
Yeah.
Forget the old rulebook. Time to stop chasing, maybe, and start building. That's our deep dive for today.